First, I'd like to thank the Alan A. Leff Memorial Lecture Fund and the Drinking Water Research Foundation for making this presentation possible. Dr. Leff passed away in 2013 and survived by his wife Marion, who was here, his brother Myron, who was here, and Myron brought his wife Joyce. And I want to thank you very much for making this possible. Folks, a lot of my slides are animated, and sometimes I'm going to get animated too. So if I changed a little bit of my title here. It's called How I Met My Water, and it was at Love at First Sip. Okay, I've divided my presentation into three parts: Water Across New York, my kitchen faucet, and my new job. And as you can see, someone is excited about their new job. Okay, part number one is Water Across New York, and we're going to take a very, very quick trip from western New York all the way to eastern Long Island. And this is the route that we're going to take. Well, New York is called the Empire State, but I think it could very well have been called the Water State, because there are such diverse, different kinds of water in New York State. You know, it's located in the Northeast, and oftentimes we forget about this little big appendage to New York State, which is called Long Island, and that's our destination. I've lived in New York State for 40 years, and I love New York's waters. Where is this?
Niagara Falls.
Is there anyone here who has never been to Niagara Falls? Couple in the back. Okay. Well, I thought...
Does that include unleavened roads?
I tried to think of a way to describe the power, the immense power of water falling off a cliff. And I said, well, you know, if you took 1,000 roaring lions and 1,000 trumpeting elephants, and they all roared and trumpeted at the same time, 24/7, 365, just getting close to the water that's falling off that cliff, you would feel the power going through you. Niagara Falls is located between two of the Great Lakes, Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. And what you're looking at here, the Great Lakes, represent 20% of the Earth's surface fresh water. And remember, we're going to Long Island. New York has a man-made river called the Erie Canal. It is 365 miles long. It's the 6th longest canal in the world, and it is 3 times as long as the Suez Canal and 8 times as long as the Panama Canal. But today, it's really just used for tourism. It's no longer a commercial route. It does have 32 operating locks. Okay, we started at the Star, and we crossed over the canal, and we're heading towards the Finger Lakes. Here is a picture which shows the Finger Lakes, and it says explore the Finger Lakes, but I say explore all 11 of the Finger Lakes. The Finger Lakes provide drinking water for between 1 and 2 million people. In the west, 2 lakes supply Rochester, New York, and in the east, 2 lakes supply Syracuse, New York. Here are 4 reasons why you should visit the Finger Lakes. I used to live on Skaneateles Lake, and I used to live on Canisius Lake. Every time I see these pictures, my heart goes pitter-patter, because the water there is just absolutely beautiful. Okay, we started there. Now we're going into southeastern New York, and this is where 9 million people in New York City get their drinking water. And you know, when you enter that region, you will see a few signs. Believe me, this is not the only sign. No trespassing is in capital letters. You'll also see a sign like this. It says no trespassing. And I'll just point this out. Do not enter for any purpose. Because if you do enter, you just might be approached by the water police. And I'm serious. New York City has a special police force of approximately 200 officers who are fully trained to protect and patrol that region of New York State. Now, if you are approached by the water police, they might ask you for some ID. they might ask you, do you have an access permit? And in a very polite and courteous manner, they will ask you, what part of no trespassing don't you understand? All right? In a very polite and courteous manner. To get to Long Island, we have to go through Manhattan. Manhattan is an island, and it is surrounded by water. And on the west side is the Hudson River. And to get to Manhattan, we are going to go through the Lincoln Tunnel and under the Hudson River. Well, this red line is the Lincoln Tunnel going under the Hudson River, and the yellow line takes us to some very special flowing water in lower Manhattan. You know, water rehydrates our bodies, but it also nourishes our soul and replenishes our spirit. This is part of the 9/11 memorial. Well, we made it to Long Island. That didn't take very long. And I want to point this out. On the north side of Long Island is Long Island Sound. It is a mixture of fresh water and salt water. It's salty, but it's not as salty as the Atlantic Ocean. And the geographical center of Long Island is Hauppauge. We're going to take this route all the way out to Southampton. Now, the village of Southampton is about the size of Berkeley Springs, all right? And when you get there, you just might meet some people that you know. The Kardashians, Alec Baldwin, Billy Joel, the list is long. It's the Hamptons. Let's size up Long Island. How long is Long Island? Anybody want to guess?
100 miles.
Did I hear 100 miles? Going once. Yes, it's 100 miles long. By 26 miles wide, okay? So I called it the little big appendage of New York State. It's made up of two counties, Nassau County and Suffolk County. How many people live on Long Island? 3 million people live on Long Island. Long Island has more people than any of these states. It looks like I omitted one state. What state did I omit?
West Virginia. 1.8 million.
How many, 2.8?
We're now at part two. It's called My Kitchen Faucet. Okay, here's a story. My wife and I moved to Southampton, Long Island, because my wife took a job at Southampton Hospital. My wife is a physician. She's a neurologist, brain, spinal cord, nerves. She treats stroke, epilepsy, some other neurological conditions, and she writes a lot of prescriptions. So my wife went to work after we moved there, and I did not go to work because I am retired. I am a retired banker. So I went to my kitchen faucet with a glass, filled it up with water, and I looked at it. There were no mysterious solids floating around. That was good. You know, no offensive odors like chlorine or sulfur. That was good. And I drank it. And you know, it actually tasted pretty good, and I was quite pleased about that. So I had a question for my kitchen faucet, and I said, hey, kitchen faucet, where do you get your water? And the answer from the Suffolk County Water Authority. My follow-up question was this, okay? And where does the Suffolk County Water Authority get its water that it sells to me? The answer? From underneath Long Island. 3 million people who live on Long Island get their drinking water from aquifers that are under Long Island. 3 million people live on top of their supply of drinking water. Now this slide is data dense, so I'm going to slow down just a little bit because I want to point out the specific things that I want you to grasp on this. And Mr. Heidel is very interested in this because this is a little bit of hydrogeology. On the north side is Long Island Sound, and on the south side is the Atlantic Ocean, and the city of Hauppauge, the geographical center, is right there. Okay, so we want to concentrate on this cross-section right here. And the first thing, jump the gun. That's it, cross-section. All right. Okay, the first thing I want to point out is that the bedrock slopes. It's almost at the surface on the north shore, but it slopes way down on the south shore. And just above bedrock is an aquifer. It's called the Lloyd Aquifer. And I hear that the water in the Lloyd Aquifer is about 8,000 years old. It's probably the most pristine water that Long Island has available. Just above the Lloyd Aquifer is the Magothy Aquifer. It's a very large supply of fresh water. And the Suffolk County Water Authority drills wells into the aquifers, mainly the Magothy Aquifer. And the Suffolk County Water Authority has about 600 wells. There's also a third aquifer of significance. There's a couple more aquifers, but these are the main three. The third one is the Upper Glacial Aquifer, and I'm going to mention this one in a little bit. Our major supplier of drinking water on Long Island of municipal water is the Suffolk County Water Authority. And I'll tell you, I really cannot say enough good things about that organization. I think they are probably one of the best suppliers of municipal water in the United States. So after I drank my first glass of water, after I took my first sip, I went to my computer and I downloaded the 2013 Water Quality Report. I read all 38 pages, 38 pages. Well, they do employ 50 water chemists who test water all day long. But folks, when I got to page 6 of that water quality report, I had a moment, and believe me, it was not a senior moment. It was an alarming moment. Because on page 6, I read that the Suffolk County Water Authority had closed one of their wells because it was contaminated with 5 medications. Carbamazepine, used to treat bipolar disease and control seizures. Gemfibrozil for cholesterol. Meprobamate, a psychotropic drug for anxiety. Believe me, when I got to page 6, I could have used some of that there meprobamate. They also found naproxen and ibuprofen for inflammation and pain. So what did I do? I called my wife at the hospital. And the conversation went something like this. Hi, honey, it's me. Say, what is carbamazepine? And her response was this. You mean carbamazepine? Carbamazepine is used to treat bipolar disease and control seizures. Why are you calling me up at the hospital and asking me what carbamazepine is? I think I'm drinking it. Well, she said, you're what? You're drinking it. Stop drinking it. You're crazy. Now, this is where I tell you that my wife is board certified by the American Board of Psychiatry and Neurology. Do you see how quickly my wife can make a diagnosis? You're crazy. Yeah, you're crazy, and you way in the back. You laugh and call my wife. Well, the Suffolk County Water Authority also detected Dilantin in other wells, an anti-seizure medication for epilepsy. Folks, we should all take our medication. There's no question about that, even our pets. But you know, when we take our medication, not all of it is metabolized by our bodies. Some of it goes through our system and is excreted into toilets. And these toilets in Suffolk County are connected to 350,000 private septic systems, which are very close to the location of 77,000 private wells. Suffolk County is only 30% sewered. The rest is unsewered.